Hey, hi, what's going on, guys? Welcome to part 2 on creating web applications for mobile. Now, in this particular video, we're gonna learn a bit more about jQuery mobile, and later we're gonna leave jQuery mobile for a while as we would be building classes and methods in PHP. So what we're gonna this time is we're gonna create a static HTML login template, and we're gonna add an Ajax form submission functionality to it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to the folder that I created last time called jQuery mobile, and out here I'm gonna rename my file index.html to login.php. Okay, so once that's done, I'm gonna reopen it with my text editor. And guys, very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna include one more file. Okay, and for that I'm gonna say source gonna be a local JS folder and a file called login.js. So that's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna create a folder called JS, and inside it we're gonna create a file called login.js. So that's what I'm gonna do. Next thing what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the DOM ready function, and I'm gonna alert something to make sure that we are able to include this file properly. So come back, go to login.php, and here it says something. That's fine. Guys, next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make some HTML changes out here. Very first I'm gonna say survey app that actually we are trying to build, and here I'm gonna say login page like this. For the footer I'm gonna say h1 to copyright, and here I'm gonna say an HTML entity of the copy symbol, and here I'm gonna say John Doe Company. If you want, you can name your company out here, and here I'm gonna say dev ID to login for. Okay, here I'm gonna create an heading tag. They're gonna be h2, and here I'm gonna say enter your credentials to login. Okay, here I'm gonna create a div. I'm gonna name it to username dev. I'm not gonna give it any class, but I'm gonna give it a data row to field contain like this. Okay, here I'm gonna say and username dev dev. Inside it I'm gonna create an input type called text. We're gonna name it to username. We're not gonna give it any value, but we're gonna give it a placeholder. So like this. Here I'm gonna say placeholder to username. I'm gonna give it an ID to username. I'm gonna copy it, I'm gonna paste it here. For the next one I'm gonna say it's gonna be a password dev. Okay, the data role gonna be remain same to field contain. Here I'm gonna say the input type to password, the name gonna be password, the ID gonna be password, and for the placeholder also I'm gonna say password. I'm gonna copy it one more time, and here I'm gonna say login button. Okay, login button dev like this. And guys, here I'm gonna create a button. So I'm gonna say button name gonna be login, button type gonna be submit. It does not it don't gonna have any value inside it, and here I'm gonna say login. So come back, refresh, and let's see what we have. Okay guys, so now we have an input box for username, an input box for password, and we have a login button. But guys, if you will notice, the login button is quite a longer, like it's similar to the input boxes on the top. So what I'm going to do is here I'm going to say data inline to true. Okay, that actually going to reduce the width for this particular login button to the place it needs to be. Okay, so I believe it's looking fine for now. Guys, next thing we need to do is we need to create form tags. So here I'm going to create a form. Okay, and I'm gonna wrap up everything inside this particular form like this. I believe this particular thing needs to be here, so like this. So I'm gonna refresh my page one more time, and if I'm gonna hit this particular login button, you will notice it's refreshing the page and it's actually submitting it to itself with the get method. So here it says username blank and password blank, and the login button also blank. So what it's actually doing, it's making a get request. So as I told you earlier, we're gonna make an Ajax submission. So very first thing we need to do is we need to stop its default behavior. So I'm gonna go back to my JS file. Here I'm gonna say $form dot submit function. So every time a form is getting submitted, do something. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say return false. So come back, refresh the page, and if I'm gonna hit login, you will notice nothing is happening, and that's what actually we need. So I'm gonna leave that particular return false thing out here. Now guys, next thing we need to do is we need to make sure that the user is not leaving these two things empty. So we're gonna make that particular check using Jquery only. So here I'm gonna say function validate username. Okay, here I'm gonna say function validate user password, like this. For the username, I'm gonna say $ID username, like the ID for this particular input box, dot value, like the value inside it, and if the length for that particular value is equals to 0, that means there is nothing inside it. I'm just gonna do an alert for now. So I'm gonna say alert empty. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do, and here I'm gonna say return to false. So I'm gonna run this particular function. Here I'm gonna say validate username. Okay guys, like before we created this function, now we have to run this function too. So come back, refresh the page, and here it says empty. But guys, alerts are really annoying, and once you're on mobile, obviously you cannot do an alert. So for that, we need to find out a very a soothing way to let the user know that these two fields are empty. So for that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my website, that's untitled.com. Okay, so here I'm gonna say untitled.com, and I have created a very handy snippet out here. So I'm gonna go to snippets, and inside snippets I'm gonna open this particular very first one, which says Jquery mobile error and success pop-up. So I'm gonna open it, and if you're watching this particular video after 1 year, probably you can make a search for Jquery mobile and mobile error and success pop-up. So I'm just waiting for this page to get loaded properly. Okay, it's done. So I'm gonna copy this particular function out here. Okay, so it says a function is show success, and I'm gonna copy this particular one which says show error. So anytime we're gonna show error or we want to show success, we can actually just call these functions and we don't have to do anything else. So I believe that is all. Guys, next thing what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna also copy the CSS styling for these two success and error messages. So I'm gonna copy it, and also we're gonna create a style sheet to style anything we want. So I'm gonna create a folder CSS. Inside it, I'm gonna create a file called custom.css. Okay, out here I'm gonna paste this, and also I'm gonna paste this one like this. Okay, now I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna include that particular style sheet either. So I'm gonna say style sheets and css/custom.css like that. Okay guys, so I'm just gonna close this particular page. I'm gonna refresh it one more time, and we have some kind of an error inside console here. Since there is a syntax error, so we're gonna go to login.file, just line 8. Okay, I'm not sure why it's double quotes here. It needs to be single quotes. I'm gonna make that particular change to the snippet as well, but for now I'm just gonna let you know it needs to be single quotes, not double quotes. So come back, refresh the page. It's fine now. So guys, instead of doing an alert, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna call this particular function. I'm gonna say show error here. Okay, and I'm gonna say username cannot be empty. So come back, refresh, and hit login. It says there is some more crap out here, so this one needs to be single quotes either. My gosh, I'm not sure what I did, so I'm gonna remove them either. So one more try, guys. I'm really sorry, that's my bad. So here it says username cannot be empty. Okay, I believe that's fine. So guys, next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna also write, password function. So here I'm gonna say if $id password dot val dot length is equals to 0. We're gonna do the same thing. So I'm gonna copy it and paste it here, and okay, I'm gonna say password cannot be empty. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say if validate username, okay, and validate password. Like if those particular functions are returning true, or probably they are not returning false, then go ahead and say show success. You are logged in successfully. Though we have not wrote any logic to match their credentials from the server, but still we're gonna test whether our jQuery code is working fine or not. So I'm gonna say you have logged in successfully. Okay, so that's fine. Come back, refresh. Let's see what we have. Here it says username cannot be empty. So I'm gonna write here hey. Now for the password, it's not doing anything. Now let me check out why. Here is it. If $password validate user password. That's my bad. Refresh one more time. Still it's not doing anything. Let me check out. Here we have an ID of password. Here I'm gonna say $ID password the length is equal to 0, show error and return to false. Or probably I have to write an else statement here. So I'm gonna say else return true. Okay, and same thing gonna be here, else return true. One more refresh and one more try. Now here it says password cannot be empty, so I'm gonna write something for password either, and here it says you have logged in successfully. Okay guys, now what I'm gonna do is, instead of showing this particular message, I'm gonna make a request to the server. So for that, we're gonna create one more folder. Let's name it to libs, and here create a file called login.php. Okay, or probably if you don't want to confuse yourself, let's name it to auth.php. So here I'm gonna say $post. Okay, like we are making a post request to the file called libs/auth.php. Okay, now we need to send the data either, so I'm gonna say form.serialize like this, and here I'm gonna say function return the response here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say if response is equals to true, then I'm gonna say show success, like show success. Same thing, you have logged in successfully, or you will be redirected in a movement. Okay, I believe that would be fine. And also I'm gonna say show error, and here I'm gonna say a response. So I believe that would be fine, and we can probably test it now. So I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna refresh it. Okay, one more thing we need to do is that would be, I'm gonna go to auth.php file, and here I'm gonna say php echo to hey. Okay, and come back here, or probably to the browser, refresh. I'm gonna do something. It says form is not defined. Okay, so there seems to be some error. I'll refresh it. I believe it needs to be $form because we have not created any variable called form, so it needs to be $form.serialize. Okay, come back, refresh one more time. It says username cannot be empty. Nice. Here it says password cannot be empty. Nice. Here it says hey. Now guys, if you will notice one thing, what I've actually said is if the response is true, then we're gonna show the success message, otherwise we're gonna show the error. So what I'm gonna do now is here I'm gonna say true, come back. Here I'm gonna enter the password. It says you will be redirected in a moment. So guys, for now at least we are able to create this particular login page. We are able to find out how to make Ajax request to the server, and without any page refresh we can show to the user about whether they have entered the right credentials or not. So guys, I believe that's all from this particular video. In the next video we're gonna leave jQuery mobile for a while and we're gonna start building classes and methods in PHP. So I'm gonna see you guys next time. Goodbye.